So it's come to my attention recently that a lot of people have yet to check out my brand new free program, Winner Game. And this is ridiculous because, number one, it's free. Number two, it's amazing. I think the main reason people haven't checked it out, actually there are probably two. One is I have a lot of new fans and subscribers over the last month, so thank you for that. The second is that there have been some issues going on with my channel that some of you are aware of, and this has led to 3 videos that talk about Winner Game being taken down. So that's not exactly such a positive thing. In any case, this is my opportunity to share it again with you, and I'm going to give you a sample inside that program. Specifically, I'm going to show you a 40-minute uncut sample of infield. And what I want you to focus on when you're watching this infield sample is focus on the compliance, the qualification, the investment on the part of the girl, because that's what you should really be looking for in game. Game isn't about being flashy, like you may have seen in a lot of like little short cut up infield that you've seen in other places. Right? It's not about being flashy, it's about getting the girl to buy in, getting the girl to commit and invest to you. So that's what I'm going to show you in this infield. I'm going to show you in just a second. And that's one of the 4 modules that are inside Winner Game is the infield. So we have infield, we also have the lies in pickup, we have my truth of success in game and in life, which is what I call Winner Game. It's the inner game of success. And then finally, we have a complete action course. So check it out at toddwinnergame.com and check out this video, 40 minutes uncut infield. Enjoy. In the spirit of making infield as honest and educational as humanly possible, what I've decided to do here is I'm showing you my most typical set, okay? The most typical result for me for an approach is this. Girl likes me, girl is even chasing me, it's clear that she's very into me, but for whatever logistical reason, most of the time it doesn't go down, right? If I go out in a particular night, because there are enough girls I can talk to in a night, it's very likely I will pull a girl home at some point in that night. However, the average result for a particular approach is girl and I like each other, there's clearly chemistry, girls chasing, oftentimes the girl's even the one pursuing me, asking me for a number, but again, girls are there with their friends, girls are there under circumstances, etc. So I want to show you some examples of that so you can see what a really, truly typical good set looks like. And that's what this is going to be. This is going to be a situation almost completely uncut. There will be certain parts where we're going to block it out for biography, but we'll still keep it running so you can see it. And you're going to see, pretty much start to finish, a very good, solid interaction of what is a normal set. And the good thing about this is I'm kind of playing both ways, and this is typical for me. I'm playing for the pull. I'm taking her to the bar and having a drink with her and moving things towards taking her home, but at the same time, I'm not overcommitting, I'm maintaining high value so that if it ends up being a phone number, it also ends up being solid. So you're kind of like winning both ways. You're winning by increasing the chance of a pull, and you're winning by increasing the solid number as far as it goes. Okay, so this is again a very, very typical, very average set for me. And I often say the way to judge someone in game is to judge their average set. Obviously, you want to judge someone's best sets, but the problem with that is, as I mentioned in the other modules of this course, if you just go out and do a ton of sets, every once in a while you find that girl that's just into you or that girl that's just down. But if you look at someone's average sets, what they're able to repeat over and over and over and over again, that's when you see what true skill is in game.
Excuse me. I have to tell you, I love the look. No other reason. 2 reasons.
Wait, you love what?
I love the look. One, because the little sundress thing. But 2, because I've never seen anyone do like quite this while texting. They're like, it's the most disdainful texting I've ever seen in my entire life. I hope you're equally as spicy and saucy in person as you are in text.
So there's a lot there, right? So that's kind of the open and things following on from it. A few things to notice. Number one, she's with a group, but I opened her solo because she just happened to have kind of moved slightly out of the group, right? There was a moment when the group wasn't paying attention to her, so I was able to open solo within the group. Now, when you are opening a group, a lot of times you will need to engage the group, and I actually planned on engaging the group as well as her here, but it turned out she turned away from me. The group kind of melted off, so I didn't need to. But be aware that that was the plan. The plan was to open her and then immediately engage the group. Second thing, there's a lot of debate in sort of the pickup community about direct versus indirect opens. And there's pros and cons, right? So opening directly is good because you're showing a lot of intent right away. You're making sure you have a man-to-woman interaction. For a lot of, especially beginners, the biggest problem you're gonna have in game is you get into this platonic conversation that's not becoming man-to-woman, it's not becoming sexual, and going direct avoids that. So a lot of times for beginners, and even intermediate people, going direct is actually a great shortcut to make sure you're showing intent and make sure the girl knows what's really going on, know that you're not afraid to show intent, that kind of thing. However, at a really advanced level, when you're talking about really hot girls, and you're talking about really high levels of consistency, I don't like being super direct. Reason being that when you convey right away that I'm into you, you've given away a lot of your power, right? You've kind of made it cheesy, you've made it obvious, you've made it clear that you want something from them. So I think it's important to make sure that there is a man-to-woman vibe. So it's important to be willing to talk on sexual topics. It's important to be willing to flirt, but I don't like going super direct on the open in a lot of cases, all right, if you can avoid it. Now, if it's the only way to get someone's attention, or if you clearly like ran someone down on the street and it's very obvious that it was not an accidental encounter, then maybe you just own it and go direct. But it's not perfect game to go direct. It's better game to go conversational and interesting. The other key thing to notice on the opener is how much I'm kind of rambling, right? Now, everything I'm doing rambling-wise is from a high-value frame. Everything I'm doing is interesting and it's relevant to her, which is how I am able to make it interesting without going direct, because it is relevant and it's about her. But notice, it's not necessarily a clear overt, I want you kind of compliment. If anything, it's more just an observation, something I noticed, if anything, maybe even teasing her a little bit. So I'm withholding a little bit of giving my value away while making things interesting. And then again, I just keep talking until I get something to work with from her, or until I come up with something that's getting the reaction I want. And then once I have that, that's when I feel I'm in the set, and I'll chill out, kind of let her respond and let her become a part of the interaction. All right, so that's a lot, right? That's a lot. There's like the first 10 seconds of the interaction. There's a lot there because that is a critical point in the interaction. So I've kind of given you a lot, but let's see how it plays out from here.
Because if so, we might get over. If not, we'll bore each other and it'll be over in 5 minutes.
Okay, just as a follow-up from all that, so because she's now reacted positively, I'm immediately going into qualifying her. I'll give you a quick definition of this. Someone qualifying themselves to someone else means they're trying to justify, win the other person over, impress the other person, right? And so in any interaction, there's one person that's trying harder for the approval of the other. And if you're the one trying for her approval, you're lower value. So if you go up and talk to a girl and you're like, you know, would you deign to talk to me? Maybe you like me a little bit. Do you have a minute? Right? You're automatically assuming a frame, assuming a sort of a conversational like fact or a conversational premise that you're lower value than her and she's doing you a favor by talking to her. Here, what conversational premise am I taking on? I'm taking the premise, oh, we might get along, you might win me over. I'm taking on the premise that I'm a high value person. And this is a critical thing I like to do, because one of two things can happen. When I assume the premise I'm high value, either she can accept that premise, which means I'm high value and she'd want to talk to me, or she can fight that premise. And if she fights that premise, it gives me a great opportunity to demonstrate real value. Also, the very fact of fighting that premise is in and of itself a form of her qualifying herself to me. The fact that she cares about saying, oh, you're not so high value, or cares about her relative value to mine, is a form of qualifying herself. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't for her. She can either, you know, jump into my frame and qualify herself, or she can fight my frame, and then there's a good chance she's going to qualify herself as well. In any case, I'm making this man to woman, I'm making it relevant, and I'm putting her in a situation where she's on the spot, she's being tested, as opposed to me being on the spot and being tested right from the very beginning.
I'm not boring.
Promise?
Yes.
In that case.
Right, and look at this. Already we're hugging. Already she's giggling. Already she's qualifying herself. Already we're hugging. Why is that? This is the result of a good open. And this is a result of understanding that right moment when she is seeking my approval and, you know, using that as an opportunity to bring us closer.
We can get to know each other. What is your name? You are very intriguing. I can't exactly put my finger on why.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, so as much as I would like to just blatantly flirt with you, I need to know who you're here with. So I want to know if, you know, we have a couple minutes. This whole crew?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know each other?
I work with them.
Okay. You have the most mischievous smile. My God. Right, so you look so sweet and innocent and nice. And then no, you're not. As soon as you smile, you just can't even hide it.
Okay, so again, notice the flirty nature of what's going on, right? This is not like a logical, where are you from, what do you do kind of conversation. That's the first thing to notice. Second thing to notice, I mentioned when I first started the interaction, I mentioned she's there with friends, right? I just found out that information because the most likely thing that's going to mess up an interaction is the friends. As I already kind of gave you a spoiler at the start, the thing that does eventually get in the way of this is the friends, right? So because I'm aware of it, I'm playing to win, I'm finding out how do I make sure I have enough time before the friends swoop in so that I actually get to know this girl. Is this a situation where I'm going to have to deal with them? A situation where I don't have to deal with them? How close are they to her? How protective are they going to be? This is all very, very critical information. A lot of guys, when a girl likes them, there's like, oh, she likes me. Let me just focus in here. And they're not focused on how do I actually win, All right, how do I actually, have enough time to talk to her before the friends swoop her away? How do I actually know who her friends are so I can win them over and have the friends saying good things about me at the end of the night instead of saying, who is that scumbag guy you were talking to? All right, so there's what feels good in the moment, and there's what actually will get you a win. And being aware of the friend situation is very, very critical overall.
I'll tell you what, I'm here with a bunch of people, you're here with a bunch of people.
You're very observant.
I'm very smart. Is that like you feel like you're winning? I'm with a smart one, I'm winning. I found a winner. It's so hard to find someone smart in New York.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
And notice the frame here. Notice the frame. What is the frame? Instead of I'm trying to win her over because she's high value, now it's like she's trying to win me over. I'm the one who's assumed to be high value. I'm the one who's assumed to be a winner, etc. And there's this tacit assumption that I'm with a winner, right? I'm with a winner. It means, there's a romantic interest. There's something going on there. But instead of saying, hey, do you maybe like me in more than a friend-to-friend way, I just assume it's true and act to high value and make it true, okay? So again, at the start of this interaction, I've given a lot of information, right? Don't think that you have to be thinking all these different things at every moment when you're in the interaction. I'm just kind of pointing them all out for you. As the interaction goes, there will be a lot more where I'm just kind of going to let it flow and let you kind of watch it. But understand that moment when you do first talk to the girl is one of those critical moments. It is a moment when a lot's going on. 5 minutes in when you're doing get to know you conversation, not as critical of a moment, so not such a big deal to get every little element right.
It's fun. That's why I moved here, is because there's more smart people here than in other places.
Where are you from?
Originally I'm from Colorado.
Oh.
She's like, I was interested and now fuck Colorado. Goodbye, Colorado. And you?
Cool.
So something really interesting happened there. I was actually just joking around about her not being interested in something I said in kind of a weird way. Actually, the funny thing is by implying, oh, I was into him, but now Colorado, no. The big point there is she was into me, right? That's the big assumption. But funny thing happened. I turned away from her jokingly, and what happened? She grabbed me back. All right, that's an old school pickup technique called a back turn, which I wasn't even intentionally doing, but you can see the power of it, right? Instead of me trying to keep her there, she's trying to keep me there. She's the one chasing me. She's the one afraid of the conversation ending. And this is a minute and 49 seconds in. So under 2 minutes in, she's afraid of me leaving. She's grabbing me. She's pulling me back. She's chasing. How good is that?
You're what?
I said cool. Oh, me? I'm from New York.
You're from like New York State or New York City?
So I grew up in blah, blah, blah. Moved to New York. Basically, I lived my life in New York. Boring. End of story.
You just promised you weren't boring a minute ago.
I know. But I've always lived in New York.
So I have a proposition for you.
All right.
I would love to go to the bar and grab a drink with you, but you have to promise that whatever story you tell me next will not be a boring story.
No, I can't handle that pressure.
You can't handle not being boring?
No. What do I need to tell? I don't know what to tell you. No, you're putting pressure on me for a good story.
I promise I'll ask questions interesting enough that it won't be hard.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so a lot just happened there. Number one, I want to take her to the bar, right? Why do I want to take her to the bar? Because isolation from her friends. If she'll go with me to the bar because her friends have kind of melted off, now I'm actually truly one-on-one with her and I have a reasonable expectation we can actually have a period of time to get to know each other, right? Also, to be fair, a lot of guys in pickup will tell you don't drink with girls. That's fucking bullshit. If you're in a bar and having a drink with a girl, it builds so much comfort. It just cements that idea that you're together in her head. It's very, very powerful. It's very useful, and it's not that expensive in most cases. And if it is that expensive, go either make more money or go to bars where you could afford it. But having a drink with a girl is such a good sort of gesture that you're together. It's a very useful thing. Now, you don't want to be opening with it. You don't want to be buying girls drinks in order to get their attention. With a girl that already clearly likes you, by all means do it. Okay, but notice some things about how I asked her. First of all, I didn't say, hey, would you maybe like to please go to the bar with me? I'm like, I'm tempted to do this, but wait, prove yourself to me, right? And she's willing to prove herself to me. Also, she's like flustered. She's flustered and nervous. She's worried she won't be impressive enough with the story. These are all the right frames. And again, notice how, again, when she's getting flustered, she's touching me. She's, it's a way of qualifying herself to me as well, okay? So this is all going very, very well. This is all exactly how I'd want it. But notice what made it go this way. It's the framing, right? It's the framing that I'm high value. It's the framing that she has to win me over as opposed to the other way around. And you see how powerful that all is. Oh, and then the last part here, when she is nervous, what do? I give her reassurance that the pressure's not on her, right? So on the one hand, you have to tell me a good story. She's like, no, nervous, right? I want her to want to qualify herself to me. I want her to try and win me over, but I don't want to be so high value or so impossible she doesn't feel like she has a chance. So I want to be walking that fine line of she doesn't know she can have me, she doesn't know if I'm impressed, but she does think she has a chance. If I'm too aloof or too high value or too dismissive, it can actually become a turnoff, or it can be a situation where she just gives up for fear of being hurt. All right, so you really want to walk that fine line of higher value, but higher value in a very generous way, and higher value where she has access to your value.
Oh man, what is your drink of choice?
The beer that I had earlier.
Okay. Do you know what
beer I had earlier. The one that was like a Corona. It's called Numero One.
Numero one? Not numero uno, but numero one? Alright, that, and then, can I do you have amaretto sour? Can you do that?
You didn't tell me your name.
It's Todd. Nice to meet you.
What is your name?
Todd. T-O-D-D.
Todd.
Do not give me that look. I'm glad you find me cute. You're not so bad yourself.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's up?
The Fox and the Hound.
Are you calling me a fox?
Have you ever seen the movie The Fox and the
I have. I love that. I love that as a kid. Yeah. I love that story.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is, well, a couple things. Number one, she's asking me for my name instead of me asking me for hers, right? Again, she's still chasing. But notice the other thing I'm doing, it's a technique called misinterpretation. Misinterpretation basically means treating whatever she says as a compliment, or treating whatever she does as a compliment. So she looks at me kind of funny, like, yeah, I know I'm cute. Anyway, you're not so bad yourself, right? Those kind of things. Or I forget what the other one was, but she gave me another thing that I misinterpreted. I intentionally misunderstood as a compliment. It's a very, very powerful technique. Similar, again, to where you go in and you kind of assume the frame that you're high value, and one of two things can happen. She can either accept it, which means you're high value, or she can fight it, which means she cares about how you're perceiving her. Same thing, when you misinterpret, you act like she gave you a compliment. She can either accept that she gave you a compliment, in which case, conversationally, she just did, or she can fight it, like, no, I didn't mean that, I didn't. But the fact that she cares, the fact that she would try to uncompliment you, means she clearly is trying to maintain her value. And that, again, is a low value gesture. It's another way of elevating your social status. So, again, what I'm doing in a lot of ways is I'm assuming that the thing I would like to be true, the ideal scenario of her perceiving me, the ideal scenario of our relative values is already true, and just acting as if, right? And then I'm sort of, I don't want to say obnoxiously, but I'm regularly pointing that out and regularly challenging her with it in kind of a fun, flirty way.
Did you know that literally the word Todd means fox? The name Todd, it means fox, it does. Like literally a Todd in like an English village was like the village fox hunter.
Really?
Yeah. Just so you know.
Was your friend the one that was talking to me before?
I have no idea. But there's a chance that that's true, yes.
I think it was because you were standing next to him when he was talking to me.
Oh, so you noticed me before. That's so cute.
Oh, you poppy.
Well, we've only just met, but maybe.
We'll start a tab or
I'll just open and close it. Yeah.
What did you get?
Amaretto sour. If you'd like to try it, you can have a sip, but you can't have the whole thing. That's how it is with me. I'll give you a taste, but you got to work hard if you want the whole thing.
Challenge accepted. Jeez.
So that's another example of, again, me framing things in a particular way, right? And actually what I'm just saying here is very true. Like a lot of my game is based around teasing. A lot of my game is based around exactly that. I'll give you a taste, but you can't have the full thing. Or I'll give you a little bit of a compliment, but you still don't know if you completely have me, right? I also do this thing where I'll just be speaking logically, having a normal conversation, but I'm looking for every sexual innuendo. I'm looking for everything that could make me high value. I'm looking for everything that could be misinterpreted as something sexual or something relationshipy, etc. And I'm constantly throwing those in, all right? So it's not like the old school like canned game days where I had all these like pre-planned routines where I'm gonna say this and this and this and do this and this and this. What I'm doing actually is I'm having a completely normal conversation. Now I'm having a conversation from a high value frame as though I'm an abundant guy with a life that I love and then I want to share with her. But I'm having a normal conversation. And then whenever these opportunities come up, when there is something sexual, oftentimes I'm doing something with it. When there is a misinterpretation, oftentimes I'm using it, right? When she does qualify herself or when she does say something complimentary, I'm going just that little bit out of my way to notice it, right? So it's a fairly normal conversation though. It's not this weird like cartoon character. A lot of guys you'll see do pickup, and it's this like crazy, over the top, non-normal conversation. This looks a lot like a normal conversation. It's just a little more man to woman, a little more sexual, a little more witty than a normal conversation.
You are amusing. So what do you do with yourself here in my city?
Okay, yes.
Really? We're gonna play this game?
I like it, it's fun.
Well,
Can I guess your? No, you guess me first.
I guarantee you can't guess mine, but you can try. Honestly,
I'm pretty easy. Can I taste your drink?
yeah. And I'm not easy, so don't get any ideas.
Okay, so this is hilarious. So this guy is coming up to her, trying to hit on her. I'm not sure, either because they were talking before and he thought it went well and now he sees her with me and like is getting threatened and trying to win her back. Or quite likely, with it being me, because he recognizes me, knows who I am, and is trying to like steal a girl from me. I get this kind of bullshit all the time. It's annoying. It's one of the downsides of being me. But it is very instructive to just watch her reaction, watch how dismissive she is towards him. And it's not because he's actually doing badly. He's actually not unattractive, not unassertive, and not doing terrible game. It's just she's kind of made a decision to chase me. And so I don't have to do a lot to keep her there, right? Why? Because she's already made some commitments to me. Also, from a logistical perspective, she's already at the drink, locked in with me. We have this kind of like perceived social thing together, right? It's not as easy to approach. A lot of guys always ask me like, how do I keep guys from coming up and stealing girls? Well, the fact of the matter is if you've done a good job, you don't have to do much. The girl will do it for you as you're about to witness.
No.
Sure. The other day.
I'm sure. No, I don't remember. I don't. I appreciate. No, just no.
Hey, sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think you must have the wrong
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Thank you.
Wait. What's your name?
That's okay. Nice to meet you. Goodbye.
Okay.
That was very ballsy. I'm not gonna lie. That was very ballsy. I don't think I've ever actually had a guy hit on me while I was talking to another guy. That was real ballsy.
I'll tell you something
He must
funny.
be wasted.
I'll tell you something funny. Sadly, that happens a lot with me because of what I used to do for a living, which I'll tell you about later.
No, tell me about now.
So what we're going to see here is a lot of just biographical information. So we've cut it out because, you know, for her privacy and for my privacy, quite frankly, in certain regards. But you'll notice here that we're having the biography once we've already committed to a location together. We've already isolated from her friends. We're already getting a drink. She's already rejecting other guys from me. She's already chasing. She's already touching me, right? So rather than go in and tell her a lot of biographical stuff about me when she doesn't really care yet, what I'm doing here is I'm doing the emotional part of the interaction first, right? The emotional, fun, flirty, setting the frame, all that kind of stuff is first. And then when this biography happens, you can see the body language. You can see that like she's very interested, right? You can see she's smiling. There's like tension there, those kind of things, right? Whereas if I just went in and she's like giggling, having huge reactions, whatever, if I went in with just the biography to begin with, that probably wouldn't play very, very well. All right. So again, you can see just the good body language. And what does it look like, right? Oh, it's just like putting your hand on my shoulder, like this little gesture there, right? It looks like she has a massive crush on me. This looks like if we were like in a social circle together and she's had a crush on me for 6 months and she's finally got me alone at a party, right? So this is what the biographical part of a conversation should look like, not like boring.
Where are you from? Because you don't sound like you're from here.
I'm not.
You told me, and I forgot already.
I thought what we had was special.
I know. Terrible. Where are you from?
I was born in Colorado.
That's right, Colorado.
Yeah, you almost left the first time, so you know if you want to go the second time, you totally can.
Did you grow up in Colorado?
Until the age of 18, and then I was officially an adult. I left, and I only go back to visit occasionally. I'm a very bad son.
I don't believe it.
Well, I don't visit my family, but I support my family. So I don't know if that makes me a bad son or a good son.
You actually support them, like financially? That's nice of you. All right, what were we talking about before?
I think we were
What I
talking about.
do. You gotta guess what I do.
I already did. I said naive student, but very like.
No, wrong. I'm not a student. You're not gonna guess by looking me up and down.
Well, then maybe I'll just take the liberty and look you up and down for pure joy of the experience.
Terrible.
You seem well-spoken, relatively educated, so I'll go some sort of ambitious young professional, just being New York and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I actually am in a profession.
that's what I said, ambitious young professional.
Yeah. Well,
Are you ambitious? That's important. I cannot, I was gonna say date, but that's moving a little too fast. I cannot flirt amorously and spend large amounts of time with people who are not ambitious. I need a little ambition in my life.
oh, come on. You need ambition in your life? You don't have it, so does that mean you don't have it? You're not ambitious yourself?
Well, you're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's very cheesy. It's kind of true, but it's one of those cheesy
It's not
cliches.
really, because I'm not around ambitious people.
Really?
Anyway, are you gonna guess what I am?
Am I what?
I'm just gonna tell you.
Oh, really? Okay. That's very cool. I like that. So that means you have to be smart, sweet, and tough all at once.
Yeah.
So there you saw typical get to know you as I do it, right? So we are exchanging facts, but it's not this just like laundry list of facts. There's a lot of like a story around the facts, right? There's a lot of me conveying the story of my life in a way that makes it a place she'd want to be, right? Or makes it intriguing or makes it fun, right? Or there's a lot of like, we have some facts and then there's a little bit of flirtation mixed in and then back to facts, right? So it's get to know you, but it's non-boring get to know you.
Probably. And here you seem so sweet, innocent, naive.
I told you I'm not.
Oh, I know. I know. I see it in the eyes. This is something? You are...
No.
You are... naughty, but in a sweet way. Like naughty without malice.
So 2 things to note here. Number 1, things just got more sexual, right? I slowed down, made more eye contact, actually started brushing her hair out of her face. It got much more like sort of sensual man to woman. Okay, so that's very important. The other thing to notice from before when we were doing the get to know you is that even though we are doing get to know you, at no point am I dropping the high value frame. At no point am I not indicating that I have a lot of women in my life. At no point am I not indicating that I have a life that I enjoy and I'm successful and that she'd want to be a part of, right? It's a continual theme throughout. Every single thing I say is subtly conveying high value. See, it's funny, right? If I went out of my way and said one huge braggy thing, be like, hey, I have an amazing job and I make lots of money, that's bragging. But if instead of that one big brag, I have just these tons of tiny little 1% brags, it's just assumed to be true, right? So it's a much more effective way to convey your personality. Instead of trying to like slam her in the face with it all at once, let her over time just get like a little droplet here, a little droplet there, and let her put the pieces together of what your life is, right? So instead of actually bragging about something, just say a lot of little things that imply high value or imply a life she'd want to be part of, and let her put it together herself. Because any fact that you tell her, she'll treat as you trying to manipulate her. Any fact that she gleans from other information and puts together herself, she'll be like, oh, I just figured that out. He didn't try and tell me that. And any information that's effortless will be taken as true. Any information that's very effortful will appear to be like manipulative or have an agenda behind it. So it's a very, very subtle but powerful way of communicating who you are.
Naughty with malice. All right, I'll watch my back.
What do you do for a living?
So I was a professional poker player for a while.
So whenever you get this, what do you do for a living question, if you ever just like, what do you do for a living doctor? What do you do for a living lawyer? What do you do for a living teacher? It's really boring, it's over, whatever. The real point of what do you do for a living is what is your story in life? So you want to take that opportunity and really actually do tell your story. Do let them have a glimpse of what your personality really is, because that's what they really care about. I'm all right. Thank you, though. You seem kind of cool yourself.
I am cool.
Why did you decide to? It's a cool profession, but it's a tough profession. So again, this is more of the get to know you, more misinterpretation. I'm finding out about her. I'm actually asking her questions. See, most guys would go in and ask a bunch of questions right away before the girl cares to impress you, before you have a reason to care about her. But now that we've had this good vibe, now I can ask her questions, and they're genuine questions that I care about the answer to, right? So that actually builds depth to the conversation at this point. You consider yourself a fun, adventurous person?
I think I'm going to Cuba soon.
Really? ¿Cuándo?
In 2 weeks.
Do you speak Spanish?
No hablo español.
Ni una palabra, no va a entender nada de lo que voy a decir. Completamente confundida de todo ese hombre guapo, te diré.
No comprende.
You're adorable. You're adorable when you blush a little bit.
Yeah.
That's cool. I have not been to Cuba, so you'll be ahead of me in that regard. I've traveled a lot, but not Cuba.
So what do you invest in?
That's always the dicey question. I basically, like, how much do you know about? I don't want to get super, A, I don't want to get super technical in general. B, I don't give my investing strategy away. And C, I would much rather flirt with you than talk investments with you at this stage in our relationship. But how much do you know about investing?
Not a lot.
So here you see me kind of just conveying value obliquely in a couple different ways. That gratuitous use of Spanish, just because I can, is demonstrating a skill. This asking her how much she knows about investing as the answer to the question is demonstrating the gap in my knowledge versus hers, right? So these are just subtle ways of just appearing to be just kind of a class above, having a lot to show her and teach her in life. Like a hedge fund strategy.
Hedge funds. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I know what that is.
What am I going to do with you? I feel like you're going to be very bad for me. Because I'm going to get very intrigued by
good.
you.
I'm good.
At what?
It's like me realizing
Person.
Okay. I know that's what you meant, so I was just giving you a hard
I'm
time.
good influence.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm very good influence.
So you're going to, like, tame me?
No. I want somebody already tamed. I'm not.
I mean, I can find you a I can find you a nice, safe man if you'd like.
Sorry.
Yeah. I want a nice safe man. I don't have time to fucking train anybody.
Sorry about that.
All right. Funny. That was a very serious answer to my very flirty question.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
take it back.
When we know each other better, we can dig into, your deep relationship history, but let's keep it a little more. Let's not ruin it with facts and feelings tonight. Let's just enjoy each other's company. Fair?
Fair.
So, what part of this whole large metropolitan area do you reside in?
New York City, Manhattan.
Which part? I live there too, but which part? You're a little bit geographically undesirable for me. I don't know if this is going to work.
So
I live.
that's geographically unavailable.
I mean, it's a long Uber.
Oh my lord.
It's like a 25-minute Uber. I don't know
No,
if I can
it's
handle that.
not.
Feels like life.
No, it's not. It's actually really quick.
Life is set.
Tell me your cross street.
You're going to stalk me?
No.
Promise?
Yes.
Well, I'm a little disappointed, but no time.
You're aligned. I figured it out. Yeah.
It's not that. Well, actually,
Now it's like
west side to east side, very annoying.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. So what you see here is a technique called disqualifying, right? And what I mean actually is not even, a lot of people talk about disqualifying the girl. I talk about disqualifying myself, saying that it won't work between us, disqualifying the relationship. Because think of it this way. Most guys that talk to a cute girl, they're looking for every reason to qualify. They're looking for every reason. The girl's like, oh, I do this. The guy's like, oh, me too. I live here. Oh, I'm close to you. Oh, it'll totally work. Oh, we have friends in common. They're looking for every little way to build rapport with the girl and be closer to the girl. A high value guy, if anything, is looking for reasons not to be. But it's not even that you're looking for reasons not to be, it's that when reasons that you wouldn't work out come up, you're willing to say them. You're willing to distance yourself because you're not desperate, right? Because you're truly looking for a high value girl. It's funny, I think I mentioned this in the JP breakdown as well, by talking about like doing online game. If you do an online dating profile and you talk about, I'm all these positive accolades, girls are like, boring. But if you have a profile that's like, I'm looking for a girl that's this, this, and this, and I won't tolerate this and this in a girl, especially that I won't tolerate this and this in a girl, girls respond to that like magic, because only high value guys have the capability to be choosy. So these things like, oh, geographically undesirable, oh, it's not gonna work out, are super, super powerful forms of expression. If you're like, then we'd be all set, but
I know.
you gotta be difficult.
So sorry.
Oh, you know, it's nice
Can I
meeting
ask
you.
you
It's not
something?
you, it's me. It's just, our locations just are never gonna work. What?
Can I ask you something?
You just did.
I'm asking you another question.
Okay.
When is your birthday?
Are you gonna figure out my astrological sign?
Yeah.
And figure out if we're meant to be?
No.
Okay. Oh, we're not meant to be? Okay, good to know. It's... Stop planning our future together. It's too fast.
No, I'm really in. I think horoscopes are interesting, but you don't seem like.
I think you're interesting.
Thank you.
You don't seem entirely like, but you still do a little bit.
Why?
Because how old are you? You seem young. Well, first of all, you're young yet.
Yeah.
22. How old? Based on that smile, we were like 26, 27.
26. But thanks for the compliment. I'll be 22 any day. Let's
You're
roll
welcome.
time.
You're glad I noticed your naive immaturity. Yes, you're welcome.
So rude. Just kidding.
That's all right. That's good. That's actually good, because I was worried you'd be a little too young for me. So.
No, I'm not young. I'm the oldest of 5. That's not young at all.
I'm the oldest of 2.
Cute.
Only 2.
I think my friends left me, but that's okay.
Well, I'm sure we can find them if we want to. And if you want, you're in my care. I will make sure nothing awful happens to you unless you desire it. There's a couple of things there. Number one, the thing with the friends, very good information for me to have. I don't think her friends actually left her, but that can be useful. A lot of times girls will point to that, be like, oh, I think my friends left. And then if they just can't find them for a little bit, they're like, oh, well, I guess they're not here. And then they'll just go home with you. So in this case, I was thinking that was actually a likely possibility. But what I want you to notice about the conversation before is the amount of me disqualifying and the amount of me qualifying. Basically, we're having a very normal conversation, but every piece of that conversation is being woven into this tapestry of, do we like each other? Is it gonna go somewhere? What is the relationship between us? It's all being brought back to the relationship between us, and I'm basically creating this story, this sort of like romantic comedy story of us meeting each other that has this drama, these will they, won't they, this tension, etc. And so I'm taking a very normal conversation, and by constantly referring back to, will we get along? Are you impressing me? This is what I'm looking for. I'm creating that drama in her head, and I'm making a scenario where she feels like she's winning me over if she goes home with me, or if she gives me a number, we end up hanging out, whatever. It feels like she's winning. So those are all good, but with soccer you said the magic word. Like that's actually like, can you still, like, are you still good? Can you still play?
I still play. I have a game this Saturday.
All right, I would hug you, except I have like sticky wine shit on me and I don't want to get it on you. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. That's super cool. So
Yeah, but I'm not that good. Really.
You just enjoy it?
I'm sorry to disappoint you. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I love to play soccer. I played it since I was little, but no, I'm not that good. But I don't care. I still love to play.
I like that. One day, assuming we enjoy ourselves and hit it off, I will go kick a ball around with you. That would be fun. I really, really love it when a girl likes doing something that I really like doing. Because, I don't know, it just makes it...
You play soccer?
I was super, super passionate about soccer for the majority of my young life.
Okay, so this is really funny. This girl that just walked in here is actually a girl I talked to earlier. And it was another similar situation. Girl really liked me, was chasing me, but then her friends dragged her away. And so she was actually like trying to stay as her friends dragged her away, and like just the social pressure, she couldn't deal with it. So now she sees me talking to this other girl, sees me hitting off. And because she's feeling jealous, because she's feeling insecure, because she wants me to acknowledge her, she goes in and like intentionally, of all the places in the entire bar, walks right up in between us, inserts herself, says, "Excuse me, I just need to put this down." And like interjects and then like leaves and like is giving me like the death stare, but kind of like the sexy version of the death stare during this. This is what happens when you run good interaction. This is what happens when you're making an emotional impact. I just wanted to point it out because it was just an interesting happenstance. I did find it amusing. You'll notice that I kind of like linger with my eyes a little longer than usual on her because of that. Absolutely. What was I going to say? And I'm a little distracted. Yeah, I played from when I was like 5 until all the way through college. And then I played semi-pro for like 2 years and then I quit. I miss it. It makes me sad.
Can I give you my number?
Okay. So that's pretty good, right? Can I give you my number? That's how a number close should go, right? Not, hey, maybe do you want a girl give me your number? It should be like, hey, can I give you my number? Hey, we should hang out. It should be her closing you, all right? Now, see, what's happened here, turns out, is that her friends have been lingering, and they started like giving her like the angry, what the fuck are you doing kind of a thing, right? And so at this point, and you're gonna find this out, she's gonna say it, she feels the need to go back to friends. It's still very early in the night, so it'd be kind of like, it would be pretty slutty for her to go home this early with a guy, having come out to meet her friends and having not really met up with them. So it's socially pretty awkward for her to do anything other than go back to her friends, but she's scared of losing me. She's scared of not being able to see me, so she's number closing me. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to finesse it so that I get introduced by her back to her friends, all right? Now, it's unlikely that I'm gonna like, the friends are gonna like me so much, they're gonna be like, okay, fine, you can talk to her and I'm gonna be able to pull. However, it has happened for me and it's worth trying. Because if I go introduce myself to the friends and they like me, I very likely could pull this girl. If I go introduce myself to the friends and they don't like me that much, not very much is lost. It'll be social, polite, and then I can just get her number anyway. So rather than settle for the number right now, I'm gonna go try one more thing to try and make it a situation where I can take the girl home, right? So I'm gonna try one more time. It's gonna turn out, and we'll kind of cut through it, but it's gonna turn out the friends in the end are not very amenable to me talking to her. They're very like sort of protective, and they're feeling kind of angry about the fact that she's been ignoring them. And so it's not very feasible. So I'm gonna end up just taking a good solid number. But notice again, A, she's closing me. B, I'm not just taking the easy victory. I'm actually thinking, how do I really win? How do I go for it, right? And so those are two very, very important points.
So I haven't seen the girlfriends that I'm hanging out with in like a year, and I really shouldn't be hanging out with them, but I would like to keep talking to you. So is it okay if I give you my number, or are you going to be insulted?
I mean, I would never be insulted by that.
And that's really funny. From an advanced level, the idea that she would think that I would be insulted by taking her number truly says she knows I'm a guy that gets with girls. Right? Because on a certain, like most guys would be like, oh my God, I'm thrilled to get a number. Only a guy that's used to girls throwing themselves at him, and only a guy that's used to taking a girl home most nights would be offended by getting a number. So this says very clearly that I've conveyed myself in that way. I've conveyed myself as that type of guy, and message sent, message received. Right? That's a very telling, very, very telling thing that she would say.
I would prefer to hang out with you further, but I understand.
I know, but I need to hang out with them and not.
Yeah. You're adorable.
This other guy was hitting on me earlier, and I just feel like they think that just guys are hitting on me, and
I'll tell you what. Are your friends cool people?
Yeah, very cool.
If you introduced me to them as your new friend, would they accept me into your group, or would they?
Yeah.
Yeah?
They'd accept you.
All right, let's do that.
This is Todd.
Hello.
This is Todd. This is Todd.
There are 3 of me now. Hi, how you guys doing? I missed all that. So what are your names? Sorry.
There I am. Now, you may have a lot of in your phone, so make sure you remember which that is.
That's like
That is a very common
the
name.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, you can tell the number is solid, right? A, she's the one closing me. B, she's being very cautious about like, hey, make sure you get it your phone. Hey, make sure you call me. That's what an actually solid number looks like. A lot of guys think they're getting solid numbers. That's what a solid number looks like. The solid number looks like she's the one chasing you. She's the one pushing. She's the one trying to make it happen. And she's the one making sure you remember her rather than the other way around. That's what a really good set looks like. Now, obviously, a really, really good set looks like a pull, but a lot of times that's just not possible for logistical reasons. In this case, early in the night, she's with a bunch of friends. Yeah, it is technically possible she could ditch all her friends and go home with you, but the social consequences of that are severe. So most likely, the high percentage way to do it is to get a really solid number where she's chasing you, follow up some other time. And by doing that, by the way, you have the opportunity now to go talk to other girls, and you get, 5, 6 of those in a night or even more. You have all these girls chasing you, hitting you up. That's actually probably a better long-term result than even pulling a girl would be. All right? So I just wanted to show you that's, again, a very typical kind of, I call it my average set, because my average set is girls chasing me, girls really liking me. Oftentimes they're closing me, but logistics don't always work out.